Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. The Houston Rockets win big tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Houston Rockets, for the first time in a long time, a really convincing victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The final score of tonight's game versus the Timberwolves, 129 to 107. Some key statistics before we get into it. Kevin Porter Jr. gets the start and shows out tonight. 25 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 10 for 15 from the field. So incredibly efficient. 3 for 5 from three. He's been struggling from beyond the arc, but he got it going tonight. 3 for 5 from three and a plus 29. Other notable statistics tonight: Kelly Olynyk, 16 points on 5 for 8 from the field, 4 for 6 from three. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals to go along with it as well. Sterling Brown tonight was on fire. 16 points on 6 for 8 from the field, 4 for 6 from three. Also had 7 rebounds and 3 offensive rebounds. And DJ Augustin coming off the bench with 20 points in 24 minutes. Very impactful. Also, other players that played well tonight: DJ Wilson, 5 points. Jayshawn Tate with 10 points, 3 offensive rebounds. John Wall, 13 points tonight and 12 assists. So the first talking point that I want to talk about tonight: Kevin Porter Jr. with another amazing game as he's starting. It seems like he's developing on a game-by-game basis.
Definitely, man. KPJ had an amazing 25 points this game on 10 of 15 shooting, 3 for 5 from three. The only thing higher than that is his plus 29. This man, it's just a blessing to watch him grow and develop. And recently, there has been a report that came out of how him, KPJ, and Christian Wood both understand that this is a rebuilding team now and are excited about, and or not excited, just to like they're into the future. They understand their roles, and they're willing to give it all they can for the player development and to like build up to the draft, which is just amazing news to hear that the Rockets have a solid foundational duo, young core, which we can work through. But KPJ, man, very efficient, 10 for 15 shooting. He's a very smart player. That's something that people tend to overlook for being only 20 years old and a sophomore. And he's only in his second year in the NBA. Still has a long time to go to develop even more. He's a very smart player, makes the right passes, always seems to know exactly what he's doing. He's just a great pleasure for all us Rockets fans to watch during this terrible, terrible year.
Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr., I mean, especially he is a sophomore, but he's basically still kind of a rookie because he didn't really play a whole lot with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He had all of those issues off the court and in the locker room, so he never really got to play as much. But this is his first real year of being a serious piece of the franchise with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was never really one of those main guys that they were all about. For them, it was mainly, Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, and all of those guys. But this is pretty much his first season where he's a more foundational piece of the franchise. And the fact that Kevin Porter Jr. has been coming in and making such a huge impact is really nice to see. And he's showing off all of his talents so far in his few games with the Rockets. Let's talk about John Wall. Another struggling game tonight. John Wall didn't really shoot the ball very efficiently. 5 for 14 from the field, 2 for 6 from three, but he did dish 12 assists, which is very nice. What do you think is going on with John Wall? Of course, there were reports of him, having a little bit of a knee issue. Do you think it's just that's been bothering him, or is it just a little bit of a slump after the All-Star break?
It's probably a little bit of both. I know he definitely has that knee issue, and honestly, I'm all for him just going ahead with the surgery. It's gonna be good for him, and it'll just give the Rockets more time to play their young players, and that's really all we want to do this season. We're already out of contention for even making the playoffs. The best thing that the Rockets can do this season is to solidify themselves as one of the worst teams record wise in order to land a high draft pick and potentially get some generational talent like a Cade Cunningham. And I feel like John Wall, yes, he's a good player and he's a great for development, but if he goes and has that surgery, it would make KPJ our primarily number one, allow us to play our younger guys more and just develop them more, while Wall can still be there at practice, still coaching, helping out Steven Silas, making sure team morale is still there. Honestly, I feel like that would be the best thing, and but it's really all up to him. I do feel like he is in a little bit of a slump, and without our any healthy lineups, without Victor Oladipo last game when we had him, no Eric Gordon, no David Nwaba, no Daniel House, and no Christian Wood for today's game. He has to take a lot of shots, and a lot of the shots that he does take aren't necessarily good, like a lot of mid-range twos and like a lot of just like contested layups, which he makes sometimes, but it's not a great shot for him to take. So yeah, a pretty inefficient game, but I am liking his passing abilities. He had 12 assists in today's game, and I believe he had 15 in yesterday's game. So good passing. That's really what I want more from John Wall, just to be more of a ball handler and more of a facilitator.
Yeah, John Wall, I mean, he has had his fair share of struggles over the past couple of games. He caught a lot of flack for his poor and his struggles yesterday late in the game. But again, he is also dealing with a knee injury, and I feel like once he does get surgery on that, and once he does get more time to sort of recover and do all of that, I think he will be back to playing at the level that he was before the All-Star break. Let's talk about Sterling Brown, man. Lights out shooting tonight in the first half. I don't think he missed a three. At his final box score, 4 for 6 from three, which is again really, really good. What do you see Sterling Brown's role being for the Rockets in the future? Do you think he's going to be a part of our long-term future, or is he more of a short-term guy for us?
Oh no, definitely. I definitely see Sterling Brown sticking around with the Rockets. He's also a fairly young player. He's not like older like John Wall or any of our Eric Gordon or any of our veterans. He's a pretty like solid. He fits within our age gap. He's a little older than Christian Wood, but like he's still a great 3 and D scorer. Definitely our best 3-point shooter efficiency wise this year, and he had a really great first half. I believe he scored all of his points in the first half. He didn't score anything in the second, but that was not because he was missing shots. It was because he wasn't really being that aggressive in the second half. I don't know what exactly happened because he had the hot hand in the first half. So if I was him, I would have, been like, hey, I have the hot hand. I'm making my shots. Let me just take some more. But either way, the Rockets still with that blowout victory, so maybe he was just being more passive. I definitely like Sterling Brown as just our three, or maybe our backup three in case we get like when Daniel House comes back. But he's just a great guy who can just come in, play some good defense, hit some open shots, hit some big shots, and just give us more confidence whenever we're in a slump.
Yeah, Sterling Brown, he had himself a night tonight. There was a play in the mid-second quarter where he was in the corner, Carl Anthony Towns guarding him. He was jab, jab, sidestep, pull up, and he hit it. That's when I knew he was gonna have himself a night. Sterling Brown, as much as he's been playing great, he's not the guy that typically hits those shots. So when I saw him hitting that, I knew that, yeah, this was his night and he was going to show out. As far as him not really being that aggressive in the second half, they were already up like near 30 in at halftime. So I guess he was kind of feeling like, okay, we kind of already have this game in hand. We don't really need to go as hard as we were in the first half. So I guess it is a bit understandable as to why he wasn't as aggressive in scoring in the second half. Let's talk about Kelly Olynyk. A lot of people shaming the Rockets for the trade, which yes, Kelly Olynyk had a good debut, but that doesn't change what the trade was and what happened out of it. But Kelly Olynyk with a very, very solid debut tonight. 16 points, 5 for 8 efficiency, 4 for 6 from three, and with 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals as well. What are your thoughts on Kelly Olynyk's debut?
Honestly, it's a very underrated pickup for the Rockets. Yes, we could have gotten a lot more, but we had to get something. And honestly, Kelly Olynyk is. I personally am happy that we got him over a veteran like Iguodala, or they had Mo Harkless, I believe, on their team. So as long and he's a 6'10", I believe he's 6'10", and he can stretch out the floor. So now the main question for him is, do you think that he can coexist alongside Christian Wood? So I feel like now by having both Olynyk and Wood and even like Patton coming off the bench, the Rockets now have basically what they've dreamed of, what Daryl Morey wanted. He wanted big men who can space the floor. We never really had that with Clint Capella as he was the roller, but now the Rockets have these, new modern day big men who are able to roll to the basket, have a post presence on the defensive end, as well as are able to stretch the floor and hit like open threes. This is what they were kind of going for with the whole, small ball era of Rockets basketball that, wasn't that great. But the fact of the matter is Kelly Olynyk, I believe, is able to play alongside Christian Wood if like this, able to take some. He's a very smart player. In his first game, he really didn't look like it was his first game. He was making really crisp passes. There was this one play I remember with DJ Augustin having like he was like had to pick up his dribble, pass it to Kelly Olynyk, and Olynyk knew right there and then that Augustin was going right behind Karl Anthony Towns for the cut. Very crisp pass, got his assist there. So I feel like players like Kelly Olynyk are like the type of player that the Rockets are looking for. And honestly, I'm glad that he's on the Rockets. And he is a little older, so he doesn't necessarily fit the time frame, but he is still a great pickup and honestly a great backup center.
So yeah, Kelly Olynyk, for his debut, he was really, really nice. And I like Kelly Olynyk as a part of our big man rotation alongside Christian Wood and Kenyon Martin Jr. He's been doing really, really nice. I saw a little bit of him in the playoffs last season with the Miami Heat, and I felt like he was doing really solid behind Bam Adebayo and those guys in Miami. And so the fact that he's here backing up Christian Wood and also alongside Kenyon Martin Jr. in the front court off the bench is really nice to see. And I like him more than Justin Patton, a bit more of a rounded NBA player than Justin Patton was. And so I think that front court rotation of Wood, Kenyon Martin Jr., and Kelly Olynyk, that's nice to have. And DJ Augustin, another player to talk about, another veteran that we acquired recently in a trade for PJ Tucker. 20 points tonight, 8 for 14 from the field, 2 for 5 from three. Dished out 4 assists as well, but his impact so far for the Rockets has been one that you don't entirely see on the stat sheet. His veteran presence, that's something that you don't see on the stat sheet, but it is there. And I feel like I really noticed it over the past few games. How about you?
Yeah, so Rockets definitely won that trade with PJ Tucker. Picking up both DJ Augustine and DJ Wilson, very, very underrated move by Raphael Stone. He's just a great veteran presence and he knows how to run an offense. That is something that, there that can only be found in veterans typically. Being the backup point guard, he knows how to like handle our backup players and, just like tell him, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta run this play, run like this. And at times he knows just how to like take his own shots. He is also very passive, which is something I love so much about him. I honestly thought he was more of a scorer than he is of a passer. He turns out it turns out that he's both. He's both great, a scorer and a passer. Very, very great. I feel like he's going to be very impactful alongside John Wall for KPJ's development. Showing him, hey, how to run an offense, hey, how to where to pass, how to, make the right plays and make quick reaction times. What you have to do for the last shot. He has a bright future, and honestly, I believe he's here for 2 more years. I like him as our backup point guard. He's just one of those players that doesn't seem to make many mistakes, and that's honestly the best you can ask for.
Yeah, DJ Augustine has been the perfect backup point guard for us. He's been just such an amazing veteran leader for us, alongside John Wall, who's also been a great veteran leader. DJ Augustine has been the perfect find for us as a veteran mentor for our young guys, especially for a guy like Kevin Porter Jr. I think DJ Augustine would be a really, really nice mentor for him. And he's been the perfect find, him and DJ Wilson, who he's been performing quite well. I like both of those pickups, and I do definitely feel like we won that trade, especially when you consider we also got a pick swap in that deal as well. And that'll just about do it for tonight. Again, an amazing blowout victory. I'm sure it will improve the confidence of the players and Steven Silas as well. And the next game against the Grizzlies, and we'll be watching and we'll be there for our post game thoughts as well. And we'll see you then. Thank you for watching and make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Catch you in the next one. Peace.